Hello and welcome to another edition of the Baseball Talk Radio Show. I'm Gary Mack.
And Rich Baxter over here. Good afternoon, Mr. Gary Mack. How are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. Baxter. How in the world are you this fine Sunday? A little cloudy today, but it is
Yeah.
Sunday and beats snow, I guess, right? So
Yeah, although late April to be this chilly, I don't think I've heard it and felt it uh, as bad as this year. But I've been talking to some older guys, way older than me, and they say, "Oh no, it's been cold in May and all this stuff." But I don't remember that.
yeah, I don't remember too. I mean, usually in by now you're getting into warmer type of weather, but it's a crazy thing. It's just crazy and cold and chilly and but the warmth it cannot be too far away.
And even it's supposed to be warmer this week, thank goodness, in our neck of the woods in the country. But your Mets even played in the snow, did they not this past week? Did I see
Oh
that?
my goodness, yes, they played in the snow in out in Colorado, and Colorado's crazy though. I mean, one day you can have like 80 degrees, and the next day you can have a blizzard. So I wasn't surprised. Yeah, they played I think. Well, they got snowed out actually last Friday. I think it was last Friday, and then played a doubleheader last Saturday and Sunday, and they didn't get any more snow, thank goodness. But then they went to Chicago, and it was uh, there was they thought it was going to snow there, so it was crazy. But that held off, I guess. But did I hear it right yesterday? Something about ice in Atlanta. They had a hailstorm or something. Um, it's just crazy all over the continent, and uh, I don't know. They've got to try to juggle these schedules a little bit so we don't get all of these rainouts and snowouts this early in the season.
Yeah, it seems like we're not used to these things, but of course, they've been happening in baseball for years now. Unless you have a dome over top of you, you have to worry about these things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, there's got to be enough stadiums that they could figure out between California, Florida, and domed stadiums. There's got to be enough way to mix it up so you're not good. Maybe Colorado's not the best place to start a season. Maybe you got to wait a couple of weeks in, and though the Mets were almost 2 weeks in, and they played in Colorado and it still snowed. But I don't know. I you see. I maybe it's better if the West plays the West the first part of the season, and the East plays the East. At least this way, you see them more. Now, like the Mets made up that game the next day.
Uh huh.
Um,
Very cool.
but if it had not been made up, they would have probably had to go on a day off or something and fly out there, which happened before one year. They flew out, had to fly back again the next day to play Milwaukee or somebody. I don't know. But it just doesn't seem right when they do it that way. But what are you going to do? That's the way it goes.
Yeah, that's true. Mother Nature, you can't predict still. And even this season, we can't predict. A little early on into the show here, I think we'll dive into the standings before we go to our topics of the week. I know sometimes we get stuck on our topics and we never get to the standings. We have 20 some odd games in the books for most teams now. And let's start out with our NL East league that we're very interested in, Gary, National League. Uh, Sort of a train wreck in the National League East.
Yeah. I think that's putting it mildly, Rich. I think that's a good way to put it. It is a bit of a train wreck. Everybody's all botched up there, and um, I don't know. It's gonna at least it'll make for an interesting season, don't you think?
At this point, yeah, it's win one, lose one, win two, lose two. Everybody's just about at 500. All the teams in the NL East are within a game of one another. Nobody's breaking out in front. Phillies are 10-10. They'll win one, lose one. The bullpen will blow a couple games, and I'm sure that's the same with the Mets. But you also have the Nationals posting similar numbers. The Marlins, the Braves, despite I think Atlanta is picked to top out the league, possibly the Nationals as well here in the NL East. But so far, we have a pretty even keel to look at.
Yeah, I'm really surprised at the Braves getting off to such a slow start. The Nationals, I'm not, because the Nationals lost those guys. They're still getting guys back. They still don't have Strasburg. So I'm not too surprised about some of the things the Braves are doing, the Nationals are doing. But I'm really surprised at the Braves and um, the Marlins. Though their record is below 500, they're pretty spunky. They seem to be in every game, and they've had a couple of big comeback victories, and they've been interesting. I think the most interesting race is going to be probably for us will be the East, but I think the West for everybody else is going to be a very interesting race out there.
Yeah, it's been an entertaining series. The Dodgers and the Padres have been going back and forth. This weekend, I believe they're on Sunday Night Baseball this week, and we'll be talking about that in a few minutes. Not specifically the game, but Sunday Night Baseball. But yeah, they've been going back and forth. Trevor Bauer uh, giving up 2 home runs to Tatis Jr. yesterday, and they had a little fun. Tatis Jr. covering his one eye as he ran around the bases in reference to Trevor Bauer and his spring training antics of closing one eye when he was pitching and things like that. But Bauer didn't seem to mind after the game. He was interviewed, took it all in stride. And I think the Dodgers came back and won that game anyway. But,
Yes.
the Padres have been doing well this year, and they're going to tussle the Dodgers for the lead spot in that league out there in the West. And Giants doing well as well.
Yeah, and the Giants are almost like the surprise team out in the West there. Playing real well though. What are they, 13-8
Yep.
as we record this, and yeah, they're playing some good baseball to start off the season, so
Yeah,
it
they're
should be good.
currently playing the Marlins from the NL East out there. They beat them twice. And they play a wrap up game, 4 game series today, 4:05 p.m. out there in San Francisco. But yeah, I got to say that the Giants are a surprise team, especially with their new manager, former Phillies manager, Gabe Kapler out there. Maybe he's going to prove that it wasn't him in Philadelphia. And if you look at the way the Phillies are playing this year, you got to lend credence to that. They're the same team that they've been under Gabe Kapler. So let's
But they're
see.
playing better this year. The Phillies, they're at 500. So they're not awful.
Not yet.
Hey, look, they're tied for first in April 25th. So keep that in mind. They're tied for first with the Mets. We just expect bad things to happen. That's all.
That's true. Well, we'll pop into the Central for a quick peek there. The Brewers doing pretty well. The Cubs, kind of a surprise. I think the Cardinals were picked to run away with that Central division, but it's pretty close there as well.
And Cincinnati got off to a fast start, but boy, they've struggled lately. And Pittsburgh's a little bit of a surprise as well because they, if you recall, they stripped well, they didn't strip the team, but they traded away some big names, their big stars, Bell and I can't think of the other name, but they got rid of some of their power hitters, and um, they're at 10 and 11, so they're hanging in there the early part of the season and not doing too badly. Milwaukee's got something that they didn't have, and they never seem to have. They have a pretty good couple of pitches there and a pretty good bullpen. And, that could be the difference there. St. Louis, I don't know much about their pitching, but they did load up with the hitting with Arenado, Journey Goldschmidt, and so they should be in a race most of the year. But like you say, Cubs a bit surprising, and of course they just played the Mets, and swept them. Yeah, they swept them. So you know, I don't know if that's a bellwether for them or, um, but Milwaukee looks pretty good so far. So, but we have such a long way to go. Still got 140 games or something in that area, so we'll see where it all, you know, it's all gonna shake itself out.
Yeah, maybe I'm still affected by last season with the 60 game shortened season. I'm thinking that, all these win again, lose again type of thing is going to catch up with you. And it would in a 60 game season. But yeah, as you said, Gary, we have the luxury of a longer season, a normal season, so to speak, and some time for tweaking here and there within the season.
Yeah, that's for sure, and that's what's going to happen. You know that very well. That uh, as the season progresses, that you're going to see more and more of the for lack of a better term, the better teams are going to cream will rise to the top, as they say. So
Yeah. Over in the American League, we have Boston Red Sox leading the way over there. A little surprised. The Yankees not playing so Yankee-ish lately, although they've won three in a row.
mhm.
Um, do you care to comment about your least
I,
favorite team, the Yankees?
I was enjoying it, to be honest with you. But they'll probably right the ship. I mean, they have a lot of talent. Let's be honest, and their pitching staff is what's weak. And once they get past Cole, and I don't even know who they got after that. And I
Yeah.
think that's what's hurting them. And but they've always had a pretty decent bullpen, and that's the way they went. They went with a weaker starting staff with a strong bullpen, and it may work, it may not work. I think in the long run, you'd run the risk of burning out your bullpen and hurting your chances that way. But who knows what they're thinking. So we'll see, though. Again, it's so early in the season, but it's nice to see, as you say, the teams at the top, the Red Sox. Nobody was giving them anything this year, and Tampa Bay up there. That's good. You like to see those other teams.
Yeah, for sure. Baltimore Orioles, glaring deficiency at home. They're 1-8
Wow.
already in this young season. Skipping over to the Central, we got the Royals, White Sox, which happens to sport the guy with the best batting average so far in the MLB, Mr. Mercedes, Yerman Mercedes, who wears
Hmm.
the number 73, batting 424 on the year with 4 homers and 15 RBIs so far. So he's leading the MLB in batting average.
Yeah, and Kansas City in first place is a big surprise. I don't think anybody picked that. They were supposedly rebuilding, but I guess it's come together quickly for them so far. A lot of people were picking Minnesota, who I believe won a division last year, to continue to their dominance. Cleveland, who's been always a contender in there, um, they've lost some glitz and glamour, I guess you might say. They traded Lindor and Carrasco. They lost Bauer a year or two ago. They had some other guys, but they have Shane Bieber. But one pitcher can't carry the whole team, so they're in a semi rebuild, I would say. But uh, Minnesota, I'm a little shocked at, to be honest with you. I thought they would be in a better position than they are.
And out west, we're talking about this topic on our next portion of the show here. The Oakland A's leading the AL West now with a 13-game winning streak. What a great win streak they've put together.
Yeah, and it's reminiscent of the Moneyball. Remember the Moneyball's winning streak? That was what, 20 games, 21 games, or something. They did that, and yeah, good on them. I mean, they're constantly doing it without a big budget, and I don't know how, but they managed to take care of things.
Yeah. And if you read the first line of the story here, A's continue barrage, extend win streak to 13. They've outscored their opponents 83-36. So that's exactly how they're doing it, playing team baseball in Oakland. And it doesn't hurt that they're playing the Orioles today at Oriole Park at Camden Yards.
What are you saying there, Rich?
I'm saying you might put them down for 14 in a row after tonight or today, actually.
Sometimes those are the teams you got to watch, though.
Yeah, yeah. 1:05 p.m. Start time here. And look at all those wins in a row here, all that green showing up for the Oakland A's. God, the last time they lost a game was April 9th. So they've almost run the table on April here. They were 1-7 when they lost their last game against the Houston Astros at home. They were 1-7. Now they're leading the division. What a great turnaround that is.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And Seattle's right behind them, so Seattle's having a pretty good year as well so far.
Yeah, yeah. About time for them to do something. Over the years they've been terrible, and yeah, it's about time. Is all I can say about that.
And the Angels, that who got off to a good start, and it looked like they were gonna, really take off this year. They're struggling now, so it's a tough call. It's teams get off the starts, and you just never know. And like I said, it's early in season. We'll see where it all goes as they mosey on down and head towards the All Star break.
Yes, we do. And back to a little story here about the Oakland A's. They were in pitching a new stadium to the public there in Oakland in their bid to stay there. And they're not going to get public financing for this, but they're going to privately finance it. Um, a brand new $1 billion project in Oakland to stay there. Of course, the football team left over to Las Vegas, so they lost that, but they want to keep the A's in town. And if you're watching our YouTube feed, you might be able to see some of the video of artist renderings of what that stadium will look like. It's sort of reminiscent of San Francisco's park. It's going to be located on the waterfront. So, yeah, that'd be a great thing for Oakland and, trying to keep professional sports in that town.
Now, is that a go? Is that a solid?
It's never a solid until it starts developing. The public portion of it was shot down a couple days ago, but now it's going to be privately financed at a place called Howard Terminal. I've never been in Oakland, but apparently that's their waterfront area. So that's been the news in Oakland. But with anything like that, I would wait till the equipment arrives on scene and they start digging for foundations.
Well, especially in Oakland because they've been. It's funny almost how they've been fighting the city to get a new stadium, and the city, doesn't either. They don't want to give up the spot that the A's want to build at, or this, that, or the other thing. They've had a lot of dysfunction there, and it would be, they really do need it. It's such a crappy stadium. It's one of the worst in baseball, if not the worst, that they could really use it.
Yeah, and their team is hot at this point in time, so it all is adding up to a great thing for them if they can get it done. Um, let's see if I can read some quotes here. Oakland Mayor Libby Schaff said this quote, "We need a deal that's good not just for the A's, but for the city, one that provides specific, tangible, and equitable benefits to our residents and doesn't leave Oakland's taxpayers on the hook," which doesn't sound unreasonable. I don't think stadiums should be publicly funded. They're not public projects. They're sports projects. They're individual projects. These franchises are worth $1 billion, some of them or more. And, why should Joe Schmo that doesn't care less about baseball have to shell out of his pocket for it?
Well, there's still public funding involved. The roads, they have to make access roads. If they want to have mass transportation going there, they've got to extend bus lines or train lines or whatever they wish to do. So there is some public spending in it, but
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and it does benefit the community. I mean, usually, the police and the security around it usually helps the area itself. So, I don't have any problem. I mean, look, you got to pay school taxes, and we don't have kids in school, so why are we paying school taxes anymore? So, I mean, you can make that argument for anything. If you're not a baseball fan, why would you want to pay for stadium? But um, it is what it is, and I think the benefit of having a franchise is really what you're paying for. And it just makes it better in the city. Look at some of these cities that lost their minor league franchises, and it kind of diminishes them as a city or a town now because they don't have that professional baseball, even on a minor league level, to you know to advertise, if you will, in their towns. But I don't not see some public funding involved in it, and I don't have a problem with that. Um, the thing is, like I said, they've been giving them such a hard time when usually if you're a city or a town, you really should be trying to work with them to find a spot, and so you keep them there. I mean, they've lost the Raiders how many times?
Yeah. Yeah.
and
This time for good.
Yeah, this because Vegas opened up their arms, and they've got a brand new uh beautiful stadium there, and they don't need it anymore. But and that hurts. And I mean, they had basketball, didn't support it, so they're gone. They had any National Hockey League teams there. Uh they left. Hockey California, I guess, is well. I mean, it's successful in L.A. and Anaheim, and um, so why not Oakland? But so they have had a lot of professional franchises that they've lost, and after a while, teams looking to move may not necessarily look in their direction anymore unless they you got to offer them something, and usually it's the arena, like the way LA got the Dodgers out there from Brooklyn. They practically gave them Chavez Ravine there, and you know it worked out for them.
It's true. Well, speaking of working out, we'd like to have you work out for us. And let me get out of the way this logo here if you're watching. Patreon.com. You can
There
sign
you
up,
go.
become a sponsor. Just $1 a month is all we're asking. And I would like you to go to patreon.com/baseball talk, all one word. And there you can subscribe, become a subscriber to what we do here. So, you know, what it allows us to do is put a little extras together for you, possibly do some traveling when that opens up. But here's your choices: $1, $5 a month, awesome listener club. For that, you're going to get a mention on our show, and up to a $10 a month subscription right there. VIP listener level, you're going to get some special promotions from us, especially if you stay with us for 6 months or longer. And, we want you to become a sponsor of the show. We don't bombard you with ads, and other broadcasts have plenty of sponsors. So we'd like to have you on board with us, so to speak.
Yeah, and if you're uncomfortable with that, you can always go to the Anchor page at anchor.fm/, baseball talk radio show, and leave a donation right on that. And Anchor's our home host for the podcast, the audio version of the podcast. YouTube, of course, is our video version is hosted on YouTube. So you can go to Anchor and leave a donation for there, and please don't forget to go to YouTube and subscribe to the podcast, because you can help us that way too. If you subscribe, um, the more subscribers we get, the better off it is, and the more views we get. So go check out the podcast on the uh, the YouTube channel, because we try to make it entertaining, and sometimes we have some funky things, and we are working on a couple of things to make the show even more interesting, and to make you, become a member and part of our community. So go check us out there. Anchor.fm. You can leave a donation. Patreon. You can leave a donation and just go to YouTube and subscribe and click on that bell thing so you'll know when a new episode comes out.
Very cool. Yeah. Some things we have planned may be some live shows on our Facebook site. So do check us out on Facebook as well. Subscribe there and or our YouTube site. So we'd like to stream this live to you. If you want to join in the program, maybe send us a message while we do the show. We want to do that kind of stuff for you. So we want to you got to let us know that you're there for us though. And by doing this, you can let us know that. So moving on with the show, Gary, we have some preliminary numbers out of baseball here, and of course, there was a lot of brouhaha earlier on in the season with some things that the MLB was doing. Some boycotts were called for from various uh, sides, so to speak, and the MLB continues to function very politically. They had announcements when the George Floyd decision was reached in court. Things that, you know, I don't think the MLB should be getting into for one reason or another. They choose to keep getting into these public type of uh, I don't know how to describe it, but political things is the best thing to describe it. And I think they're ostracizing some of their fan base with it.
Well, and the latest is the now this survey that they're taking. If you go to the ballpark and they're asking for your political affiliation, so I don't know what that's all about, but I don't think they'd want to hear our answers to any survey, especially if they ask a question about Rob Manfred. Uh, but yeah, I do agree. They're getting too political. They get, and take a lesson from these other sports. Uh, the NBA is in the toilet. I mean, the TV ratings are in absolute toilet because of their stances. People don't want to see that stuff. They don't want all of these political stances. You want to watch a game. You come home from a busy day at work. You want to just sit down and watch the game. You don't want to be bombarded with Black Lives Matter or this or
Or
that.
any
And
any other topics, like we're not picking on one particular thing. I don't want to hear any political news with baseball. I just want to know about baseball. And I'm sure, 99% of our viewers and people that watch baseball want to do that. Now, you just brought up a fact that I didn't even hear of, in the fact that baseball is now asking your political affiliation. That to me smacks of, I don't know, somewhere where they shouldn't even be going. It's none of their business. Now, what are
mhm.
they going to do? Ask you what you're doing at home next? I mean, MLB is going wacky. They're absolutely going wacky with this.
Well, they're crazed, that's for sure. But you know, I I could see it but I don't get what the point is. Why do they want to know that? It's got nothing to do with any. They can ask you what's your team affiliation, who are you rooting for, but the political. I don't understand that at all. Why that's coming into play.
I I think that should be illegal. As a matter of fact, that would be like you going to the ShopRite, the Acme. Oh, by the way, before you come in, what party affiliation are you? What business is that of yours? I mean, you just ignited a lion inside of me because I never heard of this until you just said that. I missed this story. It's incredible. I think it's such an invasion of privacy. This league is turning into a monster. I think. one of our listeners and colleagues, Jeff over at Baseball and Barbecue, sent us an email 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, something about the gambling commercials that are bombarding different watchers of baseball in different markets. And I had responded to him, oh, it's not really affecting me yet till yesterday. You know why? Because I haven't been watching baseball. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't watched a game from the first to the sixth to the seventh inning or eighth or the whole game. I've been just tuning in, dabbling on the highlights. Last night I watched it and I see exactly what he's talking about. There's like a in-game show based upon gambling, and then they actually threw it back to the official announcer of the Phillies and made it seem
Yeah.
like, okay, back to Tom over, wherever.
Yeah, it
It was
it
bad.
it's prevalent, and yet, you know, uh, we won't allow Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame because he gambled, or Shoeless Joe Jackson. Um, it it's not right. I'm sorry. Uh, if you're gonna change your position on gambling, then let these guys in baseball. I
And I
mean,
and I don't care about the way they gambled. I don't care the way Pete Rose gambled. We know that didn't hurt him. He didn't lose his house because of it. But a lot of these young, impressionable viewers out there are listening to these commercials. I think that does worse damage than Pete Rose done times a million, if you want to say it that much, because you got people out there that are thinking, oh man, this is an easy way to make money. I can bet on the Mets or I can bet on the Phillies, and you're going to lose. You may win one or two games. It's going to hook you in like a fish on a hook. And you're going to think that you can make consistent money doing this, and you're going to end up losing everything you own practically, because that's the way it happens with sports betting. I've seen it, I've heard of it. I haven't experienced it because I'm not a fool, but there's impressionable young people out there that will spend everything they have on a game, and it's a shame.
and I
I
think
think
Jeff.
it's incomprehensible of an organization that used to preach, anti-gambling, to now get in bed with them, and um, to the ruination of the people that are watching.
And Jeff points out in his email some of the crazy deals that they supposedly give you if a team gets a hit, you get $25 or something, or $100, whatever the heck it is, and but there's a catch in there, folks, somewhere.
Yeah,
But it is ridiculous. Here in New York, we have MSG, which is the home station of the New York Rangers hockey team, and the New York Knickerbockers, the NHL, the NFL, the NBA team, the basketball team, right? And they have their own betting game that they advertise. And while they don't, it's not betting anymore. It's what now? It's fantasy league. See, they took the fantasy league and they corrupted that now. Fantasy league used to be fun stuff that guys
yeah,
did. Maybe they threw in $50 or something for a pot,
yeah.
um, but now they've taken that to a whole new level, and they've given their blessing. MLB owns percentage in I don't know which one it is.
DraftKings, I think it is DraftKings.
DraftKings. NBA's got a piece of the other one.
I wish, what I wish is somebody in Congress to start stepping up and limiting this. It's like a wild west out there now. It's grab all you can grab. They're getting money from these promos that they're running, get $100, you can't lose type of thing. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
against gambling. I'm pro gambling, and I've always been, but I'm not pro gambling in the way that the MLB has embraced this. I'm in favor of an establishment that's permitted to take gambling bets, but not necessarily for individual leagues to promote it and make it seem like it's going to be easy for you to win money, and you're going to end up losing. And I feel bad for, the 20 somethings out there, or the, late teens out there that are watching these broadcasts, and all of a sudden it's like the wild, wild west. We just want your money type of thing. And that's what it
Hmm.
says to me from a league like the MLB. They've turned 360 degrees where they used to be.
Yeah, it's certainly true. I mean, that they went from, whole betting is the worst possible thing that you can do in baseball to actually own betting. Um, I don't know what you want to
Interests.
call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, interest,
Interests.
apps, whatever. Of course, they defend it by saying it's not betting. But you're putting your money in and you're saying that this guy's going to do this, and you're looking at the odds of him doing it, or, you're putting your money in that he's going to gather 3 hits in the night and get X amount of points and win you money, that's betting. I don't know what else you could call it. It's pretty simple. It's betting, plain and simple.
But then you've got the political wing of the MLB that thinks they're holier than now. They're the police of the universe with society. It just it clashes. It's so clashy. It needs regulation. It needs somebody to step up and say, you know what? No, I'm watching a baseball game on television. I don't want to see um, MGM bets or whatever have an in-game show where, oh, don't you know you could have made a lot of money during this game? Yeah, let's send it back to the broadcaster. And then he's like,
Yeah.
okay, thanks, Sarah.
Joe
Thanks for that tip.
Schmo.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're part of the show, which it's probably one of the worst things I've ever seen. In all my wildest imagination, I had never imagined uh, that legal sports betting would turn into a situation where leagues are in bed with the betting companies and out there shilling for them. I just never, in my wildest imagination, never thought that that would take place.
Yeah, well, it's here. Uh, even the Mets, they don't have the in-game show, but in the pre-game show, they recommend certain players or something for you. Oh, and on a DraftKings scoreboard or something like that. I don't usually pay attention to it, but I remember them doing it, and I just thought, where is this? Is ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. But you know what? Manfred's making the owner's money on this deal, and that's what they go by. I hate to say it, and that's what it's all about.
Well, I'm not spending a dollar on the MLB myself. That's just going to be me this year. I know I have hats already, I have merchandise, but I don't think I'm going to spend a dollar. I can't support an organization that have been doing the things that they have been doing. I enjoy the game of baseball. I won't lie. I like baseball for what it is. And down the road, I don't know. I've left other sports because of things that I didn't necessarily agree with within the league frames of what they were doing, whether it be playoff um, type of setups or things like that. But I like baseball right now, but doesn't mean that I'm not going to boycott it. So for what
Well,
it's worth
Rich,
out there.
here's a story that may make you feel a little bit better, at least for the time being. Uh, you live in the southern New Jersey. Is Trenton a bad trip for you? Or it's about as bad as to go to Philly, right?
It would be within the in the reach of a day trip. Yeah, sure.
Well, the Buffalo Bisons today, or not today, when the article was written, they announced that they will begin the 2021 AAA season in Trenton, New Jersey, at the home of the Trenton Thunder, while the Bisons and Toronto Blue Jays complete a joint renovation project to prepare Salem Field for Major League regular season games. The Bisons' home opener, scheduled for Tuesday, May 4th against the Worcester Red Sox. The Bisons proudly hosted Toronto Blue Jay games last season during the shortened 60 game regular season due to the ongoing Canada US border closure. With the continued uncertainty around cross border travel and the long standing partnership between the Bisons and Blue Jays, the clubs have undertaken a jointly funded renovation to prepare Salem Field for MLB regular season home games under the COVID-19 health and safety protocols. So they're going to upgrade the minor league stadium, which is good for the town of Buffalo and the Bisons eventually, because they're going to have bullpens beyond the outfield wall. They're going to get new batting cages. They're going to get a new weight room. They're going to get new lights, plus two additional temporary lighting poles. And it's going to make them, a much better ballpark. And so good on them as far as I'm concerned. But maybe if you don't want to give your money to the big league clubs, you can go see the Buffalo Bisons play in Trenton this year.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Thanks very much for that. I didn't read that one, but of course the MILB opening up May 4th. They decided to take a little later start this year due to the COVID situation and see which way the wind blows with that. But yeah, certainly, certainly a viable option if you don't want to hand over fistfuls of money to the MLB at this point. And just a real quick message here on that supposed boycott. Big story here in Sports Illustrated touting, and you can see what side some of these organizations are on. I'll put this close to the camera. What boycott? So you can see, Sports Illustrated, obviously inside the MLB on the side of the MLB there with headlines like that touting that the MLB ratings are up 18% from 2020. 18% is a throw in the bucket from 2020. There was nothing happening. There was nothing to watch in 2020. Okay, so don't really brag about 18% over 2020. That's not a big increase in my book.
No, it is not.
So, when the stadium's open fully, I think you're going to see more of an impact if the MLB continues this sordid road. I want to call it a sordid road, SORDID. It's something that's shouldn't be in my book, especially now that they're asking political affiliation. None of your business, MLB, whether or not I'm on your side even. They're crazy, Gary. This enrages me.
I don't get it. I don't understand what that's all about at all. It's just a remarkable thing, and I can see him taking a survey, to get an idea what people want more in a ballpark. But where the whole political affiliation thing is going,
It's
maybe they want to
creepy.
see if
It's
they're doing
creepy.
the right thing.
Yeah, I think it's creepy. An organization like that, in my book, would be like you walking through the door at Walmart and them asking you what your political party is. It's creepy, folks.
And what are they going to do with that information? I mean,
Yeah.
what are they going to say? Oh, you voted for Republicans, so we're not going to sell you season tickets. I mean, what? I don't know what the point is of it.
Yeah. And, I don't think it should be legal, but we'll have to consult with some scholars. We know a few. Maybe we'll have them on a program. We'll bring,
We do.
yes, we do. Bring them on a program, see their legal opinion. you know, maybe I'm wrong.
No, not you, Rich. You're not wrong.
All right. Well, we'll have to see, though. But anyway, it's been a great week of baseball. In general, the game of baseball, not Major League Baseball, but the organization. Looking forward towards next week's show already, Gary, and I'm sure we'll have tons more to talk about.
Well, I got one more quick story, Rich, that I'd like to
Okay.
get in if you don't mind.
Sure.
The Corpus Christi Hooks, along with founding partner Whataburger, have cooked up a savory new alternative. We always like to talk about food, minor league starting up, as you said. So here we've got the Corpus Christi Hooks, along with the founding partner of the Hooks, Whataburger, have cooked up a savory new alternative to the team's distinctive on-field look. Throughout the 2021 season, the Hooks will play as the Honey Butter Chicken Biscuits, as an ode to the restaurant's famed breakfast sandwich. Each Wednesday, the Hooks will sport orange and white striped uniforms inspired by Whataburger's iconic table tents, while the on-field hats will be orange and white versions of the Hooks' faux back caps. The unveiling follows the 2020 debut of the Hooks Whataburger Celebration Collection in honor of the restaurant's 70th anniversary. So, Whataburger been around a while out in the West Coast, Rich, I get, and in Texas. Not one that we hear about much. Yeah, they have the uniforms, as you see. Rich has got them up there. We look forward to celebrating the iconic menu item while taking the Celebrate Whataburger collection to the next level, said Hooks general manager Brady Ballard. Missing the 2020 season has fans starving. Oh, I get it. For Hooks baseball, and we felt we could indulge that craving with a tasty new uniform every Wednesday. That's got a lot of little innuendos in there. The season-long celebration culminates with Whataburger Weekend, August 20th to 21st, featuring giveaways both days as the team plays as the Honey Butter Chicken Biscuits. Wednesdays are also tabbed as Whataburger Family Days, when adults can buy one Berm ticket and get a kid ticket free. Whataburger first opened for business on August 8th, 1950, just a few miles from where Whataburger Field stands today. It now operates more than 850 restaurants in 10 states, serving more than 370 communities. And we have no interest, no advertisements from Whataburger. I just thought it was a cool story, and we haven't had a lot of minor league food stories in a while, Rich, so I thought this was worthy of our attention.
Very much so. And yeah, Whataburger, if you want us to do an online portion of that, you can ship it to us. We'll be glad to heat it up in one of them overnight containers, because that's making me hungry, Gary. It's almost
There you go.
lunchtime.
There you go. Well, then you should listen to Baseball and Barbecue. That'll really make you hungry.
Yeah, my mouth's watering already.
Yeah, well, Jeff and the Len, they always make it mouth-watering, that show, with their great guests on the Baseball Talk Radio Network. So go check out that, as well as many, 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 many other shows of great interest to baseball fans on the Baseball Talk Radio Network. So go check it out.
Very cool. And thanks for listening to this edition of the Baseball Talk Radio Show. We'll be back next week with some more great baseball talk. A lot going on around the world of baseball.
And we'll see you then.